head coach Kevin Greene of the Salem Wildcats as we get set to officially begin the football season in just a little bit. And Coach, this dead period, it gives you a chance to kind of evaluate after off-season stuff where you are. Where are you right now in terms of all of that?
Well, we're enjoying a week off, that's for sure. I know our players are too. We've got a lot of kids that do different sports, multiple sports, so the summer's busy for them. But I think we've had a good summer overall as far as the football program goes. I think we've had a lot of programs that have had a good summer, and just excited to get things started next week. Our numbers are pretty good, not quite as good as they've been in the years past, but no, we've had a good group of kids this summer that have worked really hard and invested a lot. So we're hoping to see some dividends from those investments.
And a lot of your upperclassmen now in key spots with some experience, I'm sure, have let the underclassmen know that, like last season, unacceptable in their eyes, and they're ready to turn the page and have a good year.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a speed bump season like we did last year, there's a lot to be learned. And, it starts with leadership. It starts with how you do things on, off the field, between workouts, during workouts, all that kind of stuff. And we've got a small group of seniors still again this year, but they're invested. They've been with us for a long time on Friday nights, which is important. And I think they've done a great job of leading our kids and showing them exactly how to do things and the work ethic that's needed to be successful.
Absolutely. And how has the off season gone with your 7-on-7s and lineman camps and all? How's all that gone?
Yeah, we've had a really good off season. Our linemen, we've had some lineman camps. Linemen have showed very well there. Won the Robinson championship a couple weeks ago. 7-on-7 went 5-1. Just narrowly lost a championship there, and competed very well down at Southern in their 7-on-7 tournament. Lost by 1 to Rochester in the final game. And no, we've had a very consistent number of kids coming in every day, and that work has been very good. Again, we feel good about where we're at right now, but everybody does. So we'll see what happens next week when we get her going for good.
And when we get throughout the season, we'll talk more specifics. But in terms of the schedule, again, the conference obviously is what it is, but there's some opportunities there as we saw some graduation and saw some things that we've got going on that could be an exciting year in the Cahokia.
I think you're right. I think there's going to be a couple teams that perhaps may not be quite as competitive as what they typically are. Obviously, we're hoping to have a rebound year, and then when you throw in two teams like Wood River and Roxana, who really took the step across that line, if you will, last year and getting to the playoffs and being competitive in the league, that makes for a very, very fun and interesting conference matchup and race. There's no doubt about it. And I know our guys are confident with the work they've put in that we can be one of those teams that steps across the line again this year. But no, our schedule is competitive, but I think there's also, as you said, there's opportunities there for us, a little bit more veteran team to be able to make some hay perhaps.
And non-conference wise, a couple of old familiar foes that pretty much are the typically same team in Mount Zion and Charleston that we've seen. So that's got to have some familiarity there as well with Marquette, because we've played them for years now. That's got to be good for you guys too.
I think so. Marquette is one of those teams that, like you said, we kind of started playing them in that COVID year and have developed a little bit of a rivalry with them. Mount Zion, we had the choice. Coach Stu had the choice. We talked about it a little bit a couple years ago to get them on the schedule this year. And I think one of the things that we talked about was, we struggled against them mightily when we were in the Apollo. And if our kids and our program want to see that we've taken the next step, we can't be afraid of playing teams like that. And they're going to be very good. They've got a really good group coming back from a playoff team last year, but we're excited about that challenge. First road game of the year, week 3. And I know our kids have that one highlighted on the schedule, there's no doubt. And obviously Charleston's highlighted on the schedule for a lot of different reasons. And but no, our kids are, that's a week 9 contest. And as our kids will tell you before even the head coach, there's a lot of things that are going to happen before we get to that game, but no, some interesting non-conference games for sure. And again, just as excited about that part of the schedule as we are the Cahokia.
Well, and it all starts again with Centralia, which is going to be one of the highest attended games this year, most anticipated game this year for a lot of fans. And it's one of those games that it doesn't matter who's back or who's not. It's a rivalry game, and you never know the first game out of the way.
Yeah, I think it's such a special game for the cause, obviously, but then to have two cross-county rivals like that, for several years, my first several years here, we struggled to be competitive with them, and I think we kind of turned things around in 18 with a big win. We're very competitive with them in 19, 20, 21, and then last year's game was competitive for 2.5 quarters or so. But they're a great challenge. Coach Guai does such a good job, and it's a fun game to be a part of. And I think our kids realize how what a great opportunity it is to start the season like that every year.
And quickly, then stepping aside, since it's the dead period for all sports, there's some exciting things happening. You start with volleyball, and Coach Brubaker very excited about the crew she has in turning its corner for a program that's been looking to do that for a while.
Yeah, I think you could say that about several of our fall sports. You know, our golfers return a pretty good number. Volleyball has a really good veteran crew coming back. Soccer is in the same boat. They return a good number of kids with some good injection of young players. You know, our school last year was just not filled with veteran athletes, and we've got a much more veteran presence amongst a lot of our sports this fall, and even into our other 2 seasons as well, that I think has our kids and our coaches excited about. And but as anybody would say, as you would tell your kids as a coach too, that's only potential, and that can be a nasty word sometimes. So our kids need to put the work they've put in over the last several months to use this coming school year.
Yep, and a lot of Wildcats in this offseason have been putting in the work.
Absolutely.
And just Eli Baker, I don't know that people know, was the #1 freshman scorer in the country last year. So just exciting things there all around, like you mentioned, especially the fall sports. I'm pretty excited. I think it's going to be a good year.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. We've kind of changed up our volleyball schedule a little bit. They're getting going a little bit earlier this year, and as you said, Eli Baker, and you know, he returns with a bunch of kids in that soccer lineup. We're injecting some young talent into that soccer lineup, and you know, to watch Eli Baker walk our hallways every day, I just love that kid to death. He's such a great kid. He's such a great leader in our hallways. Just a great student athlete, a great ambassador for our school, and we're lucky to have him here for 3 more years.
And do you have your captain set yet for football, or will that take place later on?
We'll do that later on.
Yep.
Typically, it'll be mostly our seniors. Obviously, Sam Green and Brennan Lux, Connor Tennyson, Chandler Sill will be right in there with his brother Chance. So yeah, those guys will be you know, they'll be pretty leaned on pretty heavily for leadership, no doubt.
It's a pretty good skill coming back. Pretty good guys coming back to lean on.
We've got some guys coming back in the right spots, so we'll see how that works out for us for sure.
Perfect.